The egos of others have made life difficult for many leaders. In this video, we'll explore ways to deal effectively with those troubles. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Broom, CEO of the Center for Human Systems. I've helped executives, leaders, and teams to success for 45 years now. Let me be your leadership and team guru too. In terms of helping others deal effectively with their egos, the first thing to keep in mind is you have no control over the behavior of others. You can only influence others as they allow you to. So what we'll cover in this video is what you can do to help others manage their egos through your having a positive and safe relationship with them. What we'll cover in this video are things that you can do that will allow those with ego issues, allow you to best influence them to restrain their egos. Of course, having mastered your own ego is a primary necessity. In the link above is a link to the video, Understanding Your Ego, a Leader's Biggest Enemy, in case you missed that one. The overall goal in helping people manage their egos better is to mitigate their need to defend their sense of identity and self-esteem in their relationship with you and their team members. After all, that's what ego is all about. You need to develop a relationship where they feel safe with you and their other team members. That is the goal. Here are several ways that you'll find useful. The first, and probably the most important, is listen to them. Be curious about what they're saying. Be interested in what they're saying. Appreciate what they have shared with you. None of that means that you have agreed with anything, but that you are interested, appreciative, and curious about them. Be genuine. Be genuine. No BS. We're all good BS detectors. Another very powerful way of listening is listen for their emotions. Listen for what they care about. Feed that back to and see if you are on target or not. Listening in these two ways is the fundamental way that we build effective relationships with others, and particularly those who are ego-ridden. They are after and needing some sense of affirmation. And just your listening is affirming. Just your hearing what they're saying, picking up their emotions and their concerns is affirming. In future videos of effective leadership, this issue of powerful listening is going to come up over and over again. Next, acknowledge them. Acknowledge them for their technical skills. Acknowledge them for successes in previous projects. Acknowledge them for anything that you have respected them for. Again, no BS. No BS. And it must not be trivial things. They must be meaningful things. They must be things that are meaningful to you and meaningful to them. Nothing trivial, please. Acknowledge them in private. Acknowledge them in public. Again, be genuine. Now, this next thing really evolves out of your listening. Through listening to them, you can begin to pick up what it is they are really after. And as you find that out, see if you can find ways that you can negotiate with them so that they can get from you what they want and you can get from them what you want. This is a negotiation that must be a win-win negotiation. I remember working with a with an outfit in Evanston, Illinois. I was working with the executive teams on how to establish a win-win culture. And we talked about several things. And the next month, I came back, and the vice president of administration wanted to talk to me. He said, I'm having trouble with this. A couple weeks ago, I had a couple guys come to me that wanted 2 particular days off and to play win-win. I said yes. But boy, missing them on those 2 days surely made it hard on everybody else and me too. I said, well, seems like you got win number 1, but you didn't get win number 2. You gave them a win, but you took a loss. Win-win means that they win and that you win too. You were playing win-lose, with you being the loser rather than playing win-win. What you could have done is begun to negotiate with them about could they move those 2 days? How could the project be moved? Is there some way that you could have worked out with them something that would work for you and work for them? That's the key to helping somebody get the win that they want. And people who get a win are typically willing to help you get your win too. Now, all ego needs are handled then. This next tactic is about holding up a mirror for them once you've established a positive relationship. Identify the pattern where their egos are hooked. There are basically 3 key areas. One is control issues. These are the folks who, when their egos are hooked, they just always want their way. And the rest of the team just tries to convince them. Even you try to convince them to agree. Trying to convince somebody when they don't agree is fruitless. What you can do is stop the discussion and ask, we get that you don't think this is the best idea since sliced bread, but are you willing to support it anyway? Everybody else is on board. And 99 times out of 100, I'd say, in my experience, I've never seen this fail. So 100% of the time, I've never seen anybody say anything but, well, okay, I'm a team player. The second ego issue is inclusion issues. Somebody who just wants to be included in every single decision all the time, and that just doesn't work. It is a nuisance. You need to speak with that person and hold up a mirror to them and say, it really seems that you seem to want to be involved in every single decision. Well, that's really not possible. You are in charge of the decisions in your lane. And you certainly need to be involved in those decisions. Decisions beyond that, sometimes you'll be invited to be involved, sometimes you won't. Can you live with that? And they'll say, well, sure I can. Often they simply did not know that they were being such a nuisance. And your being frank about it is what works. Being frank is going to help us in this next item too. These are the people whose egos have them always in your office. They want to talk to you about their work issues. They want to talk to you about their personal issues. They want to talk to you about their children. They want to talk to you about what's working. They want to talk to you about what's not working. And it's just taking up too much of your time. And so you need to be frank with them about that and set some boundary around how much of your time they can take up, because you've got lots of other people that you must work with and lots of work of your own that needs to be done. And again, you can negotiate with them for what will work for them and what will work for you. So that's holding up a mirror. Finally, the most powerful way of helping people manage their egos is through developing group norms and an organizational culture that will support people in not needing to protect their sense of identity and their sense of self-esteem. There are 4 key steps to doing this. This is going to be a bit oversimplified. We'll have other videos that'll go into much more detail, but the 4 basic steps are: discuss with your team how you see egos as getting in the way. You don't need to point out individuals, but just say, we seem to have a lot of egos that are getting in the way. What do you think about that? And just, well, yeah. And then ask your team to develop what they can do to actually support each other in managing their egos and what that would look like, so that they wind up with a set of agreements that they came up with. That so when somebody's ego attacks them, somebody else will say, Michael, are you okay? Looks like your ego might be getting in the way. And they might get defensive first, but then if you stick with them, they'll begin to recover themselves and get focused again. Once those set of agreements have been made, and it includes an agreement around what's going to happen if we don't keep these agreements, as support for what's going to happen for those who do keep the agreements. Because if you lead with positive reinforcements, you often don't need the negative reinforcements. And as your team begins to behave that way, new team members that come into your team will begin to pick up, this is what this is about here. I remember working with a TV station, and they had just hired a new reporter. And a report came to me that this new reporter was treating the camera people and the sound people terribly. And I talked to them and said, look, I think you're in the wrong TV station. This is not a TV station of prima donnas. And you need to treat everyone with the respect, and you will be retreated with respect as well. And he just bent over backward apologizing. I didn't know that is the way it was here. Thank you for telling me. And he was fine from then on. Again, it's about having the boundary set by how other people are behaving. And sometimes people need a heads up as well. Okay, so those are the main ways of helping others manage their egos. There are 5 caveats that we need to pay attention to. One we've already managed, one we've already mentioned, and that is that managing your own ego well is imperative. If you cannot manage your own ego, you cannot help others do the same. You need to be a role model of effective ego management, where you are managing your ego and your ego is not managing you. 2, we've already mentioned as well, you must maintain a set of boundaries of how you want to be treated. Do not allow others to treat you poorly. Be consistent. Be consistent in your listening to people. Be consistent in acknowledging people. Be consistent in managing your own ego well. Be consistent in managing your own boundaries well. Consistency works. 4, if you cannot find it within yourself that there's some way that you can respect this person, do not even bother. Remember that ego-ridden behaviors is based in insecurity. Supporting their sense of security and safety and okayness will help, but you won't do that if you don't believe in them at all. Okay. Finally, the last one. If all fails and someone just consistently needs help in managing their egos, or at the moment they seem to be really stuck, disengage, take a break, say, tell you what, let's re-enter this conversation in 5 minutes or half an hour or the next day. Then go back to them when they've had some time to recover themselves and have the discussion again. That typically works. Now, if they consistently, even after that, it still doesn't work, you need to consider letting them know that if they are not able to begin to be more effective in managing their behavior, they may need to find another place to work. And then you want to invoke your progressive disciplinary process, which always starts off with positive reinforcement for what's working, and then moving on toward reprimands, and which then leads toward oral reprimands and then dismissal. But typically, if you follow the other things we've talked about, you really need to get there. In summary, each of these approaches, along with the caveats, can help create an environment where well-managed egos abound, where people are comfortable focusing less on their egos and more on productivity and engagement with their team members. The overall strategy, of course, is to mitigate their need to defend their sense of identity and self-esteem and their relationship with you and the team. That's all ego is about. Developing relationships where people feel safe is the key goal here. Please give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe so you get informed of new videos as they are published. Bye.